Welcome back. In this video, we're going to look at speed, or velocity. We're going to see that speed is how fast you're going. Velocity is the same as speed, but it has one more component. It tells you what direction you're going. So going 50 miles an hour is how fast you're going, but going 50 miles an hour north or 50 miles an hour east is a vector. That's your velocity. So a lot of times your velocity in your car is a velocity because you're going somewhere. Okay, so if you go in a straight line for a certain amount of time, like miles per hour, you go 50 miles in 1 hour, your velocity, average velocity, would be 50 miles per hour if you're going in a direction, say east or north or whatever. Okay, so we're going to see that velocity is a vector. There's a direction attached to it, and a lot of times you'll have an arrow there, and it's going to equal the distance traveled divided by the time. Okay, so 50 miles in 1 hour would be 50 miles an hour, and that would be your velocity or your speed. Speed and velocity very similar. So let's look at this first question. Hans stands in the rim of the Grand Canyon and yodels down to the bottom. He hears the yodel echo back from the canyon 5.2 seconds later. Assume that the speed of the sound of air is 340 meters per second. How deep is the canyon at this location? Okay, let's draw a picture. Okay, so you've got Hans standing at the top of the canyon, and he yodels back. So sound is going to travel to the bottom, and then it's going to come back to his ears. The whole thing takes 5.20 seconds. We're going to use time here, okay, if you remember distance divided by time, to multiply with the speed of sound, because they give you the speed of sound and we'll find the distance. We just have to make sure that the number they gave was what we want. Does it take 5.2 seconds from sound to get from the bottom to his ear, or does it take 5.2 seconds for it to go to the bottom and then back to his ear? Okay, so this is kind of tricky. It's going to take half of that time. Okay, so you're going to actually not multiply by 5.2, but you're going to multiply by half of that amount. So let's write the formula. V, velocity, equals distance over time, and that's one that I would like you to memorize. And now I'm going to solve for D because they're asking the distance to the bottom of the canyon. So I get T by it, or D by itself. Let's raise T on the other side. It's being divided here. So if I multiply it on both sides, it'll cancel on this side and be on the top on this side, and you'll get distance equals velocity times time. We're going to use half of this 5.2 since it's going to go down and come back up. So I'm going to have the distance equals the velocity of sound. They give it to us as 340 meters per second, 340.0 meters per second. Now meters per second means meters divided by seconds. That's a divided line. A fraction is the same as divided. So 3/4 is 3 divided by 4, which is 0.75. So going from a fraction to a decimal is using this line as a division. This is still dividing, so this is on the top of the fraction, and this is on the bottom of the fraction. If I multiply then by 2.60 seconds, which is half of that time, I have seconds on top and seconds on bottom. They can cancel. That's going to leave me meters, and that's great because distance is in meters. I want a distance to be in the metrics that you use for a distance. So let's multiply. Okay, so you're going to have 340.0 times 2.60. Okay, and I have here 884 meters. 884. Okay, hope that helps.